Hey guys, so today we are ranking Emily Henry books. Yes, I just read and that's exactly what we're doing, precisely. There are only 4 books, which makes it really weird, but I just feel like Emily Henry is such a hyped up author that I just feel like I want to express what I think about every single one of those books in just one cohesive video and then rank them. But the lowest ranking is a 4 out of 5 and the highest ranking is a 5 out of 5, so you can kind of expect me to just gush over these books. So I'm gonna go from least favorite to most favorite, so that might give you guys an idea of which ones you might want to read. If you want to read all of them, none of them, some of them, one of them, subscribe to the bell icon for engagement. Let's just get into it. There's actually a new book coming out in 2024, which I'm super excited for. We'll see where that kind of ranks on the list. So my least favorite one is You and Me on Vacation, also known as People We Meet on Vacation, and it's a 4 out of 5 for me. I know, it's my least favorite, but it's still a 4-star, so what we're even talking about. And it's currently her most rated book, not highest necessarily, but like most rated, because it blew up on TikTok and that's kind of how people found out about Emily Henry. And I do believe that all of her other books deserve more hype, mainly the #1 pick. It's a friends to strangers to lovers. Strangers kind of, they just don't talk, but they're not, you know what I mean? They're friends to like not friends to then lovers. There is some conflict, slight miscommunication, slight like she lied to him about something and it comes up at the end of the book and it kind of causes a little bit of, I actually thought it's kind of a weak point. I feel like this is my least favorite book because I find some of the tropes a little bit not my favorite. Like for example, the like lie that she told, it just wasn't my favorite. Like conflict, and it was my favorite resolution, it just kind of whatever. I like the characters, but I wasn't obsessed with them as a couple. I actually kind of liked them more as friends. I feel like as a couple it just kind of didn't swoon me the way the other books did. And the influencer mentions cringed me out, just like in any other book. If you guys saw my book icks video, you guys know that I hate the mentions of social media or influencing in books. It cringes me out, icks me out. I can't handle it. And in this book they briefly mentioned that she does like some influencing on the side, and it just wasn't my favorite. But I still give this book a 4-star. I thought it was super enjoyable. I finished it in one day, as I do with most Emily Henry books. And yeah, so that's my least favorite book. I mean, there's nothing crazy about it, as in like bad, but it's definitely not my favorite from Emily Henry. The next one up is Book Lovers, and it actually is kind of tied with Beach Read, but I did put it on 4 only because Beach Read was my first Emily Henry book and I just have a special place in my heart for it. But if you ask me on a different day, maybe I'll put them differently, but for now I've put Book Lovers here, 4.5 out of 5. I love these characters so much. Honestly, they're my favorite characters. They're like perfectly flawed. They're amazing. Mainly the main female character, I loved her so much. And I love the locations for the book. They were cozy small town vibes. If you're looking for a small town book, they go from like starting out a big town, big city, New York, to then going to a small town. That's where most of the book is set, and I thought it was just perfect. It was amazing. It reminded me of like Stars Hollow, essentially. In the book, they're both book editors. This is a location that a book was written in, like a romance. That's very complicated, but essentially it kind of has the same feelings as like Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls. So if you're looking for that, I think that might be a really good autumn time read. Like, it's not a super summertime read. It's slow burn enemies to lovers, but like done super well. The enemies, because they mess around with each other at work, like they're not, you know, like it's more like workplace enemies kind of, but done super well. Not cringy, not like forced. They just don't really get along. And then it's like 2 kind of friends to lovers. It's so good. And the book ended perfectly in a way where it didn't feel like anyone was sacrificing anything for anyone, which you would think with how the book is progressing and like the big city girl to like small town vibe. No one was like sacrificing anything. It was amazing. It wasn't like, and then she left her whole life and career for him. Like, it was just perfectly done. This is a almost perfect book for me. I don't know why I dock 0.5 points from it. I don't know, I just want to reserve 5 stars for like 5 stars. And I thought this book was amazing though, so, you know. And then Beach Read was the first Emily Henry book I've ever read, and I was pretty much hooked from like page 1. It was just such a good, I don't know, just her writing is so good. It's called Beach Read, but it's set in a lake house and there's like no beach anywhere, so that's very interesting. It's an enemies to lovers, but once again done well and realistically. Both are like the middle books for me. Book Lovers and Beach Read are both enemies to lovers, and it's because of some kind of competitiveness. So with Book Lovers, it was competitiveness in the workplace. With Beach Read, it's competitiveness at college, back when they were at college together, and then they didn't see each other for years, and then now they've kind of reconciled unknowingly in a lake house. They have lake houses next to each other, and they both have such deep backstories. I actually think that's probably why I put Beach Read above Book Lovers, even though they have the same rating. It's because Beach Read gives the characters so much more of a backstory. There's so much like family drama in both of their lives that you get to delve right into, and it's so emotional, it's so like deep and crazy. Whereas with book lovers, there's a bit less of that family drama, like less of that like background information, and this like Beach Read was less of a romance and more of just like a literary fiction. It was so good. So when you see these characters finally bond over all of their family issues, it's just like super satisfying, super amazing. But yeah, there's just, these are such well fleshed out characters. I just remember how I felt reading that book, and it was just so good. And then my favorite book is the one I read recently, and I actually have it in a hardback up there on my bookshelf, and it's called Happy Place. It is my happy place. I actually read that book, and then I read Every Summer afterwards, and then both 5-star reads for me. Then I think I had like a lower star read, and then I went straight into My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which was also a 5-star read for me. So I pretty much just was on like a 5-star high for like a month straight. That was like, I've never had that happen before. I just read so many 5 stars in a row, mainly with like romance as well, because sometimes it can be a little bit hit or miss, but I was immediately hooked from pretty much like page 1. It's set in a holiday home that belongs to one of the friendship group members' parents, and they're selling that house, and they've been seeing each other there every single summer holidays. Is it gonna focus on me? Hello? Can you see my eyes? They've been meeting up in this summer house for years, since they've met at college, and the parents are obviously selling this house, and now they're not gonna have anywhere to meet up, and it just feels like they're not just losing the house, they're losing this friendship group, because it feels like when one thing changes and one thing falls apart, they're all just gonna go their separate ways and never spend the holidays together ever again. It's just like, it perfectly encapsulates how you feel as an adult when you have these friendships that you may be growing out of, or growing into new ones, or you're struggling to make new friends. I feel like it's just such a good, well-written adult book that depicts adult friendships and how complicated they can be, and then you kind of throw in their relationship drama, relationship issues. So super emotional book, and there were a lot of little quotes that I highlighted, and they just perfectly describe how you feel in long-term relationships where things just start kind of going awry, but you still have so much love for each other, and it's just like this whole beautiful journey of showing them. All the characters are flawed. The friendship group isn't amazing. Like any friendship group, they have flaws, they don't communicate well, they hide things from each other, they lie to each other, the whole thing, right? So it's amazing. But then you have like flawed characters, as in the couple that you're focusing on, and you're figuring out why their engagement broke off, which is like the first thing you find out, is that their engagement broke off, and now they're at this holiday together, and it's just like a mess, right? But then it's like miscommunication also done well, and you're waiting until the end so you can figure out what the issue was, why their engagement broke off, and why no one else knows, and what's going on. It's just conflict done really well. Like, I love Emily Henry for being able to write conflict really, really well, and miscommunication really, really well. I actually cried multiple times because I genuinely like rooted for them, despite them being flawed characters, and despite the friendship group being flawed. I just rooted for everyone, for the couple, for the friendship group. I was hoping that they'd be able to like find somewhere else to meet up every year. Like, it was a whole beautifully done happy place for me. Like, this book is a happy place for me, even though I cried multiple times. It's still like a super, super happy place. So that's my ranking pretty much. It goes from You and Me on Vacation to Book Lovers to Beach Read to Happy Place. If you're going to read any of these books, I do recommend Happy Place. I think it's amazing. But also listen to like my taglines. Happy Place is like miscommunication, engagement broken, like you're trying to figure out what's going on, and a lot of like emphasis on friendship. So if you love a friendship book, like a core group of friends, Happy Place is for you. With Beach Read, it's super emotional, a lot of backstories, a lot of family drama, and it's kind of enemies to lovers. So if you love that, you'll love that. Book Lovers, once again, a little bit of family drama, small town romance, kind of, but like starts in a big city, enemies to lovers, workplace, a lot of work stuff. And then You and Me on Vacation is friends to falling out to lovers, some miscommunication, traveling, if you love a little travel book. So that's kind of my taglines for all of these. All of them have like the perfect amount of conflict, the perfect amount of emotionalness, the perfect amount of depth and elaboration. That's all the Emily Henry books I've read so far, because that's all she has. Let me know which ones you guys like. Let me know the order of, you know, how you'd rank them, which ones you've read, which ones you haven't read, which ones you want to read, which ones you're gonna read. Subscribe to the bell icon for engagement, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.